how well y'all can see her on the camera, but it was Miss Patricia. I've never seen one of those big long hair cats here. And then we had this guy who looks like my kitties. Quinn, oh my god, this sweetie. Same picture of this thing here. And I saw this, so if you guys are in the area, be looking for honey and dips. But here she is. Oh, you're playful. You're a very young kitty. Yeah, look at her. And welcome to a new vlog for me. This is the book club reading vlog where we're going to be reading the book that is my book club's pick of the month. Let's start with our weekly quote. That is, because when you are imagining, you might as well imagine something worthwhile. And that is from L.M. Montgomery. And that's true. But let's see what I am reading this week. I am starting my day with Downland Voices, an anthology of Indigenous writing from New England from the University of Nebraska Press. I actually didn't read in here today, so I might read a few pages in there after I record this clip. But the book that is the main focus for the vlog. Also in May, we are focusing on literary and contemporary fiction, and this is one of the, if not highest rated, one of those on my TBR according to Goodreads. This is Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. Let's see the description. Charming, witty, and compulsively readable exploration of friendship, reckoning, and hope that traces a widow's unlikely connection with a giant Pacific octopus. After Tova Sullivan's husband died, she began working the night shift at the Sowell Bay Aquarium, mopping floors and tidying up. Keeping busy has always helped her cope, which she's been doing since her 18-year-old son, Eric, mysteriously vanished on a boat in Puget Sound over 30 years ago. Tova becomes acquainted with Kermajoli Marcellus, a giant Pacific octopus living at the aquarium. Marcellus knows more than anyone can imagine, but wouldn't dream of lifting one of his 8 arms for his human captors, until he forms a remarkable friendship with Tova. Ever the detective, Marcellus deduces what happened the night Tova's son disappeared, and now Marcellus must use every trick his own invertebrate body can muster to unearth the truth for her before it's too late. Shelby Van Pelt's debut novel is a gentle reminder that sometimes taking a hard look at the past can help uncover a future that once felt impossible. So that is the main focus for our vlog this week. I feel like it kind of, my colorful sweater goes with the book. Lastly, we have my ebook pick, which is, or not, yeah, it is my ebook pick because I finished Outlander, but this is The Score by Elle Kennedy. I will have a mood read that we'll add in on May the 1st, but for right now, we're just going to read this as my mood read and my ebook pick. But The Score, we have Allie, who she's just getting out of a long-term, you know, when you're a teenager, but they're in college now, so she's getting out of that relationship. The first thing she does, like, she has rebound sex with somebody, and that somebody is Dean De Laurentiis, who is like the playboy of the hockey team. He loves women. Like, he loves women. So they hook up and she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. That's so unlike me. I'm not somebody who does no strings attached. I just broke up with my boyfriend. How am I supposed to, like, why did I do that? Why did I go hook up with Dean? And now Dean is like, oh my gosh, am I catching feelings for her? Or was the sex just that great? Like, he's like, it's unlike him. He's like, I'm so used to just sleeping with any girl, you know, any girl who wants to sleep with him. He's now catching feelings for Allie. So this is a romance book all about that. It's third in a series, but with this series you can read the books in whatever order. But that is the weekly TBR for the first week of May. Hey guys, so I got some bad news that my mom passed away. I wasn't sure if I wanted to say something on here, but these vlogs are like a diary for me, and I know this is going to be how a lot of people like find out. So just know I don't want any phone calls or anything like that at the moment. I don't want to do that. I have talked with the people who get me through everything, my best friends and my dad, so yeah, I don't need phone calls, but like if you send a text or something, that's not gonna upset me. But I felt like I needed to say something here, and I don't want to say anything like else because of family and all of that, out of respect for others. But I did want to at least say that, yeah, that happened, and if I seem sad or anything in the vlogs, that's why. But again, thank you in advance, because I know people want to send condolences and all. I just don't want any phone calls because I personally don't like talking on the phone anyway, and then going through something like this. I don't feel comfortable talking on the phone. But just know, even if you're wanting to call, I still like, I love you, thank you. That's just not what I'm comfortable with at the moment. But I, transitioned to talking about Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I got to 15%. I read like 58 pages, I think it was. So I just want to go through my notes for the book. And I know you can't see it if I sit over there. I know I need something where I could like clip it, or y'all could like see it right there. I'm like, if I roll that out, knocking stuff down. But we're talking about Remarkably Bright Creatures, so I'm sorry if you can't see. Okay, okay, Bigfoot. Baby Bigfoot, can you hold it for me, baby? Okay, I know that's gonna be kind of hard to see, but I don't want to hold that up because I'm gonna be opening the book. So right off the bat, we are introduced to Marcellus, who is our octopus, and I'm like, this far in, you see where that orange tab is? I'm like, I love him. I definitely love him. And then he's like talking about the sign on his enclosure. I'm a giant Pacific octopus. I know this from the plaque on the wall beside my enclosure. I know what you're thinking. Yes, I can read. I can do many things you would not expect. I'm like, yeah, he called me out because I was like, how is this octopus? How does he know all this? And we do have the title of our book on the first page. I know I always have to highlight, or I didn't have my highlighter with me, but I had a pen, so I did underline that. And also there are some illustrations, it's down here, illustrations throughout, which is super cool. The chapters aren't numbered, so I'm not going to be like saying chapter 1 or whatever. I'm just gonna, maybe I'll say the page number. So yeah, from that first like section, there's definitely a Frederick Bachman vibes here, because he's a character, he's not a character, he's an author who does characters of like all different age groups, and I really like that, because a lot of times you're reading about people in their 20s and 30s, and sure, I find that relatable, but I want to read about all different walks of life, all different ages, all different genders, all different races, all of that kind of stuff, different jobs. I like to know all about different people, and I'm definitely getting his vibe from this book so far, because this is wholesome day-to-day life. And a random thought, so when I told y'all the description of the book, so we know that the sea took Eric, or he went missing on the Puget Sound, but people took Marcellus, our octopus, from the sea. So I'm wondering, like, I don't know, I just felt like that was something to make note of. And then later, this quote from our main character of Tova, who is the lady who is the janitor at the aquarium. The Knitwits have this, so that's her like friend group, because they started 25 years ago by being a knitting club. So the Knitwits have been her friends for years, and sometimes she still feels as if she's a mistaken jigsaw piece who found her way into the wrong puzzle. And I think so many of us have been in those situations where you feel like you don't really fit in anywhere. And I think this is relatable, because sometimes you're outgrowing friends, or you're just in a different place of life as different friends, and that's okay. I'm gonna tell y'all, it's okay to be, you're all at different stages. Life isn't a race or whatever. And this quote, I think, again, is just really intelligent. Each choice has its merits and its costs. So true. And he's going explaining how he gets out of the tank, and this is not what I expected at all. I'm like, it's kind of spoilery how he gets out of the tank. I'm not going to say. And then on page 26, we get introduced to Cameron, and I'm like, who is Cameron? Who is this? We're being introduced to new people. On that description in the book, it only had the octopus and Tova. So I'm like, who is this? So I'm like, is this maybe Terry's daughter? Terry is the guy who runs the aquarium, and his daughter is the one who named Marcellus. So I'm like, maybe. And then I'm like, oh, it's a dude. I'm like, is it Eric? But I'm like, no, I don't really think so. I don't think the ages would add up. So I'm like, maybe he's Eric's son. Maybe. And finagle, I don't know this word. That's why I marked it. So it says, bending down and wrestling around her jammed fridge, trying to finagle a space for her grapes around an oversized pan of ham and cheese gratin Mary Ann dropped off yesterday. So I didn't know that word, so I did underline it. And okay, every time there's like a stray cat in books, like the people are like, shoo, shoo, and the cat doesn't shoo. I've never had that happen with stray cats. Y'all know that I've talked about in last week's vlog. That's like my calling, to feed the stray cats. But no stray cat, like, especially when you're seeing them for the first time, they're gonna take off. They're scared of humans. So it's just, I'm always like, why in books does that never happen? And now we have Ethan, who is a character, so I made note because we met him in a previous chapter, but now we have his POV. He is like the guy who runs the grocery store. And this quote from Marcellus: so many book characters, especially in the romance genre, it seems to be a hallmark of the human species. Abysmal communication skills. Why can humans not use their millions of words to simply tell one another what they desire? And that is so true. And this quote, one in particular from the bottom of the sea I carry with me still, and that's a secret. So I'm like, does he know what happened to Eric? But again, the years don't really add up, and maybe somebody told him. And then we have Cameron, back to Cameron, and he's going through something very similar to Tova, except, you know, he's a young man rather than being an elderly lady. That his friends, you know, at this age, they're getting married, having kids, but he's just got kicked out by his girlfriend. He doesn't have a steady job, and he's just at a different place than his friends and isn't really fitting in. So that's something that can happen to all age demographics, but those are my notes on Remarkably Bright Creatures for the day. On my Kindle, we did the spread in my last vlog, and oh my gosh, I only have 2 minutes left on this SD card, but I got to 25%, and I'm not vibing with this book as much as I vibed with the first 2 books in the series. The first one I gave a 5-star, second one I gave a 4-star, and this one's honestly given some kind of 3-star, because with these characters that we're both introduced to, Dean and Allie, it's like, this isn't how we usually act, and they're like that right off the bat. I wish we would have got more building on their characters to know what they're really like rather than knowing what they're not like. I just wish there would have been more building to the characters and not starting the book right off with their hookup. I can't talk that long because it only has 1 minute remaining on the SD card. I'm gonna have to clear up some room, and I honestly need to buy a new SD card. But yeah, the score by L. Kennedy, I hope I didn't call it The Deal, but it's the score. I totally thought you could do flash on video, but it is Tuesday. So I started my day by going to the dentist and had a cleaning, and it's regressing, my gum disease. So I have to go back in July. I know that's like how far backed up, like, you know, like how many appointments they have to get an SRP done again. So that's treatment, which yeah, that kind of sucks, but it'll make me feel better. So, you know, we're good about that. We're happy about that. But I have a new hygienist, and she was super cool. I liked her a lot. She is currently reading The Teacher by Frida McFadden. And then my dentist has been reading David Baldacci. Just to tell y'all what people in my life are reading, because this is a book channel, and I got to talk about my channel and books and movies and TV, celebrities, and all of that. So, but the people there, honestly, so kind, because I was crying and just about everything that happened yesterday, and they just treated me with such kindness. And I've been like crying this afternoon, just crying about how nice they were, and just seeing the goodness in people. It makes me kind of emotional, and Fred's opening the door. So I did bleed a little bit, so I have I think like right between my 2 big teeth right there, I had 2 front teeth, I guess. I had a little like scab from where I was bleeding. So not the phone down since we're coming on the phone, but so I might have dried blood on my lips or something like that. So I'm sorry about that, and I'm sorry my health isn't great to myself. Like, I feel fine, but you know, it's my gums. I thought it was my teeth that have been sensitive, which I did have them call in a refill for my prescription of the Prevident toothpaste. I know, why am I just telling y'all about my prescriptions, but so that will help, because I have been out of that and I need it for my sensitive teeth. But let's talk about Remarkably Bright Creatures. I am a third of the way into the book. I know you can't really see it if I put it up there, but Tova, she needs a ride somewhere because she doesn't like to drive on the freeway. And so she asks Ethan, who is the grocery store guy, and it's like, of course he'd be like, surely they're aware, like, about her friends, of her reluctance to drive on the freeway. But she asked him. I'm like, of course a man would think that. I'm not generalizing, y'all. I know, like, not all guys are like that, but like, of course this guy would think like that, and he's gonna get his heart broken. Cameron, who gets some things that belong to his mother, and I'm still standing by my theory that he is Eric's son. I have no proof of that yet, but if it's true or not, and I won't tell y'all if it is because I don't want to spoil the book for anybody. Just a lot of comments in this book made me kind of snort, like laughing. This one was Marcellus the Octopus is talking about how humans always talk about the weather. And he's like, imagine if I were to stride over to my neighbors, the sea jellies, and while shaking my mantle with disbelief, make a comment such as, can you believe these bubbles these tanks are putting out today? Preposterous. I can't say that word. Also, that word I didn't know yesterday. The dental hygienist used that word today, and I was like, oh my gosh. I didn't tell her that I didn't know that word until yesterday. But it's funny how things work. Yeah, so Simon is going, or not Simon, sorry, Cameron is going on that route to find out who his dad is. I'm like, dude, do 23 and maybe not because they're going bankrupt or whatever, but why not just, oh, well, I guess this tests kind of are expensive, especially depending on the kind you get. And please don't knock the phone. Okay, that made him sit down. And my last tab here. Okay, so we're with Tova again, and she, she's kind of letting the octopus do his thing, getting out of his tank. She knows that he's doing it. And then the stray cat, she let the stray cat into the house because he went through the screen door, and she said the image of Cat where she left him on her way out, curled up on her davenport. I don't know what a davenport is. They've used that several times here, but flashes through her mind without really intending it. She arrived at the decision not to repair the screen, at least for now. Let the creatures have their gaps in. She laughs aloud. The pumps gurgle their agreement. But yeah, she gets it. Animal lovers, y'all get it. But that is my reading update for Remarkably Bright Creatures for the day. This lighting is kind of crazy. It is Wednesday. And I got a package in the mail from my friend Marquise because my horoscope was like, you'll receive a gift today. And he was like, has that happened yet? And I was like, no. And he's like, what if I buy you one off your Amazon wish list? So it's like, you don't have to, but if you want to, anything on there is fine. So I got one from him. Where'd my box cutter go? Okay, so Amazon over here. I'm seeing and it even came from DC. It went from DCA to Charlotte. I'm glad it survived. Okay, that's probably too soon to make that joke. Sorry. Okay, where's the... Yeah, you shouldn't do it going towards you. Just to let y'all know. Safety. Okay, the notes are here first. Since you pointed this book out on my recent book crawl, I thought I would send this to make sure that the last and better part of your horoscope came true in a small way. An admiration and awe of your curiosity and mind from Marquise. Thank you. So I'm not looking at the rest of the notes because I don't want this one. I see it. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. This one I've been wanting so bad. And I told him because he went on the book crawl and he said he saw it at like every store, but every time I go to a store, I never see it. And that is Mother of Rome by Lauren J. Bear. Oh my gosh. Y'all know he's the friend who I watch all the Roman stuff with. Like, we love Rome. Oh my gosh. This is They Threw the Wrong Woman to the Wolves. A powerful and fierce reimagining of one of the earliest Roman legends, the twins of Romulus and Remus, mythical figures of history's greatest empire, and the woman whose sacrifice made it all possible. The names Romulus and Remus may be immortalized in map and stone and chronicle, but their mother exists only as a preface to her son's journey. The princess turned oath-breaking priestess, condemned to death alongside her children, but she did not die. She survived, and so does her story. Beautiful, royal, rich Rhea has it all until her father loses his kingdom in a treacherous coup, and she is sent to the Order of the Vestal Virgins. Oh my gosh. To ensure she will never produce an heir. Except when mortals scheme, gods laugh. Rhea becomes pregnant and human society turns against her. Abandoned and ostracized and facing the gravest punishment, Rhea forges a dangerous deal with the divine, one that will forever change the trajectory of her life and her beloved land. To save her sons and reclaim their birthright, Rhea must summon nature's mightiest forces, a mother's love and fight. All roads may lead to Rome, but they begin with Rhea Sylvia. Oh my gosh. It sounds so good. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to read this book. Thank you, Marquise. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's time for that nightly reading update. And to let y'all know, my new SD card is supposed to get here tomorrow. So this iPhone footage, I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize my SD card would be so jam-packed full. But we're here to talk about Remarkably Bright Creatures. I did see the paperback released yesterday. Now, I didn't realize all these different stores get different editions because my friend Marquise, who got it, I think he got his on Amazon, and then he saw some at the store, and they had yellow sprayed edges, and then I saw it at Target today and it had purple sprayed edges. So the Target, if you want the purple, it's only at Target. Yellow might be everywhere else. I don't know. I feel like Barnes & Noble probably would have a special edition as well. But yeah, these stores, these books, it to me it's just crazy all the different things they do nowadays. And we are today I start on page 122. We have a kind of flashback scene with Eric, who is Tova's son, and it says, at sunset, Sewell's Bay's public beach teems with rock crabs. One summer when Eric was small, the Sullivans were on an after-dinner walk when Eric found one who by some cruel fate had lost his hind legs on one side. Naturally, he insisted on bringing it home. He named it Eight-Legged Eddie because it was supposed to have 10 limbs and was missing 2. For a few weeks, Eric and Will watched poor Eddie clamber awkwardly around a glass tank filled with gravel from the driveway. Tova saved potato peelings and zucchini scraps for Eight-Legged Eddie's nightly feeding. Once or twice, Will drove down to the pet supply store in Ellen to purchase brine shrimp, which the crab devoured happily. And I just love to see the parents being a part of all of this too. They're just such good people. And this is such a relatable sentence here. 2 sentences actually, that it's just such a great feeling. It says, a powerful feeling washes over her, and after a moment, Tova recognizes the feeling as relief. The cocoon is warm and soft, and she is alone, blissfully alone. 3 sentences. She succumbs to sleep. So, you know, when you're just about to fall asleep, like, oh, and you're all cocooned up. I love that feeling. So I did have a theory that Cameron is going to take over Tova's job. I'm going to say, and when he's talking to this guy's like, don't let me down. And I'm like, he's going to let him down. I don't think he's going to mean to, but I think Tova says at one part, expect the unexpected. Next, we have Cameron. You know, he's looking for his dad and everything. So he's meeting with this lady who might know the dad. And he's like, it would really do me a solid, Jess. And she's like, it's Jessica. She says flatly. I thought that was kind of funny, just the bluntness of it. Yeah, a lot of lines in here have made me laugh. But okay, during Tova's chapters, I don't know if it's just because where I am mentally, that this is probably a me problem, but my mind seems to wander off a lot. And it's not even like I'm thinking about the stuff that's happening in my life right now. I just go about thinking of other things. I don't really get this in the other chapters, so I'm wondering maybe if Tova's chapters are just longer and that's my attention span waning. I'm not sure. Did anybody else have that issue with the book? And then she gets invited out to tea, and she said, perhaps if she pretends it never happened, the invitation will simply vanish. I probably shouldn't admit that, but like, definitely relatable. Being an introvert, homebody, socially anxious person. But yes, I love all the relationships we're seeing in this book. The relationship writing is just so well done. I do really love these characters. I know it's like I hear everybody when I'm about to say a swear word. So basically, this Marcellus, he's viewing, you know, the people outside his tank, and he's like, yeah, that kid is definitely not that guy's son. The father is a and I'm like, I'm thinking this is the case. I think Eric is Cameron's father, and this guy who Cameron's thinking is his father is a and that is everything that I read in Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I totally did get a book at Target. I need to, go to the other room and get it to show y'all. The book I got is The Unworthy by Augustina Basterica, who's the author of Tender of the Flesh, which I haven't read, and I'll probably read it one day because it's so popular. But this one I was just drawn to more from her cell in a mysterious convent. And that's something I'm wanting to read about, is like convents. It's really like priestesses from like the Roman times is what I'm intrigued by, but just seeing groups of women together for like religious purposes is something I'm interested in at the moment. But from her cell in a mysterious convent, cloistered away from the climate catastrophe, we love those, that has plunged the world into chaos, a woman writes the story of her life in whatever she can find: discarded ink, dirt, and even her own blood. A lower member of the sacred sisterhood, deemed an unworthy, she dreams of ascending to the ranks of the enlightened at the center of the convent and of pleasing the forbidding superior sister. But when a strange newcomer joins the ranks of the unworthy, the narrator is forced to consider her long buried past as she grows closer to the newcomer. She is increasingly haunted by questions that she cannot ignore. How did she get to the sacred sisterhood? Why can't she remember her life before? And what really happens when a woman is chosen to be enlightened? That's what I picked up. Is this translated? Translated by Sarah Moses from Spanish. I also rescued two little plushies. That one was on the floor under the pizza coolers. This little Easter bunny keychain. I know it's like really popular now to put like stuffed keychains on your bag, so I might do that. I don't know, but found that little bunny. And then y'all know I graduated in 2018. I don't even know how many years ago that is. I'm not a graduate, but I saw this one just on an end cap where it wasn't supposed to be. It was in the grocery section, and it's supposed to be with the greeting cards. I was like, that is so cute. I thought it was a star at first, and this was a graduation cap, and I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't get that, but cute. Hey guys, happy Thursday. As y'all saw, I went to Barnes & Noble. I first went to Target to pick up my prescription and some other stuff. Yeah, and then I went to Chick-fil-A. Really needed this caffeine, and I was just starving because I didn't get to have lunch today because I was dealing with Delilah. But today I wrote the post that I'm going to post later in memory of my mom. Um, I've been waiting to post because we don't have. I'm like, should I be saying this stuff? We don't have like an official death day until I see the death certificate. I didn't want to put anything, set in stone until I have that, which I will be going there tomorrow to get all of that and just to get things sorted and to get. I wrote the obituary, but I just have to give it to the funeral home people. So I have just been waiting for that before I post anything because I know people might have questions and that kind of thing. So I just want to have all the info before I post about it. I just feel like that's the appropriate thing to do rather than being like telling them one thing and then that changes later on. So, I mean, obviously, I've told like my friends and, as I told you, the ladies at the dentist about like the very basics, but more people who don't know that. Yeah, so we'll have to wait for that. So I did get my prescription. Kind of nervous about it because one, they sent my dad another text saying there was something else. Because this is for dry mouth, which I asked for sensitive teeth. So I don't know if this does the same thing because it's still sodium fluoride. So I do think that will be prescription strength toothpaste for dry mouth. But I mean, my mouth does get dry, so maybe then this isn't. I don't. But I do want to show y'all what I got at the bookstore. So since I only read 8 books in April, I only purchased one book today, and that being The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. This is it won the Stonewall Book Award from the American Library Association. Actually, when I used to do reading sprints on here, several of y'all recommended me this book, and in May we are focusing on reading contemporary literary fiction, and this was one of the highest rated books of that genre on my to buy list according to Goodreads. So this is Michael is a mixed race gay teen growing up in London. All his life he's navigated what it means to be Greek, Cree, 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 I'm not saying that right, and Jamaican, but never quite feeling Greek or black enough. Told with raw honesty, insight, and lyricism, which we love. This debut from acclaimed poet Dean Atta explores the layers of identity that make us who we are and allow us to shine. So I love when poets write books. Look at that. That's so beautiful. So thank you to the people who recommended that book to me. Also, I thought this was just going to be like a mystery mini kind of thing. I'll show what it is in a minute, but then I saw I would have to build it, but it says 6 and up can do it. So I'm like, if 6-year-olds can do it, I can do it. Because I put it back when I saw I have to build, and then I was like, no, I won't. This is a Lego set for an F1 car. There's 12 to collect, so Formula One. We do have the Grand Prix in Miami this weekend, which is my closest F1 course. And that'd be really cool if they came to Charlotte one day, since Charlotte is like the motorsports capital in America anyway. I think that should happen one day. Will it? I do not know. But I am going to go work on this now because I'm not going to say I've never done Legos, but it's been a really long time since I've done Legos. I basically am fine with any car except Red Bull. But I would like a Mercedes or a McLaren. I say McLaren, but I think it's McLaren is like how they say it, but McLaren is how I've only said it. But we will see what I get. But look at all those places, just that, where they make the Legos. Like there's 29 pieces in here and they have to build it in Denmark, Mexico, Hungary, China, Vietnam, the USA, Czech Republic. Like it takes that many countries to put together this little tiny set. That is crazy. But I am going to, yeah, I'm going to go build this now and then continue to, I still have my french fries. Some french fries left, so I'm going to snack. And if you get the reference to YouTube, like, I don't know, 12 years ago, it's over 12 years ago, then you're goated. I just finished reading in Remarkably by Creatures for the day, but I do want to show y'all. My friend Curran sent me these beautiful flowers. I don't think anybody's ever got me flowers before, so, and they smell really good. Like they smell like a Bath and Body Works candle, and it has a cute little bow on it. The lady did startle me. Oh, and it came with a little card and everything, but I was screaming, and the lady rang the doorbell like 2 times, knocked on the door. So there's like this annoying guy who comes to my house and wants to do yard work, even though there's really nothing in the yard to be done. But he will drive all over my yard. But he rings the doorbell and all like the same amount. Like he does it exactly like that lady does. So I thought it was him, and I was like, oh my gosh, he hasn't been here in forever. But no, it was the flower delivery lady. And so I just, in the middle of my stream, I panicked. I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Because I thought it was that one guy. And I was like, I'm right here by my window. He could see me and like be out there forever. And I just went in panic and turned the stream off without really saying goodbye. So I was like, I hope nobody thinks I'm like being murdered or something, unalived, as they say on TikTok. But I am fine. I was just getting some beautiful flowers. And I did go back on the stream, but nobody was in the comments. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're all going to think I died. I didn't die. And then I posted on the community tab and nobody has like said anything on that or liked it or anything. So I'm like, hopefully nobody thinks I like something happened to me. Like I was so scared that people would like call 911 or something. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I was just getting the flowers. I just did not know who it was from where I was at. But I do want to update y'all on Remarkably Bright Creatures. I was just so embarrassed on the stream. I was like, people, please don't think I'm in danger. Okay, I read 67 pages today. Let's see what all I can tell y'all without giving you any spoilers. So our orange tab is only one star. So yeah, some of the dialogue in this, I just think it seems unnatural. It doesn't really seem like how people would really talk. Um, it's like, it's okay, he's 15. He's allowed to be Oscar the Grouch, trash can and all. Trash can? His bedroom is more like an actual dumpster. I don't even go in there anymore. Like, I don't know. To me, that just seems unnatural. Avery has, she's like owns a paddle shop. And one time she talked a woman out of jumping off the pier. And I'm like, that woman, I bet it's going to be Eric's mom. I'm not going to say with any confirmation. Our characters, when you're old and she doesn't, have any air. She's just like throwing out the photo albums and all. I'm like, please, y'all do not do that. Donate to your local museum. Pretty much every county has one, even like the really small counties like Darlington County. It's county filled with history, but it is such a small rural county. But there is a county museum, and even like cities like Hartsville have their own museum. So if you are in the situation of just old, let's say you inherit old photographs or like china dishes, let me tell you, give them to your local museum. And even sometimes the public library will scan these photos so they can be used, on the internet for, the same thing, like historical purposes. So just please know that. Don't go throw out this old memorabilia. Yeah. So that was just something that got me kind of triggered. And then we have Cameron, who he's, doing his job, and Marcellus is like looking at him and he's like, "You hungry, bro?" I just thought that was so funny saying to an octopus, like talking with the slang, because we're not going to see Tova talking like that. So seeing like the 30-year-old boy talk like that, I thought that was pretty funny. And he needs to do the paperwork for his job. I'm sure y'all know like all the stuff that goes into getting a job, that you have to have paperwork and blah blah blah, all this other stuff. And Terry, I was like, who's the leader of the aquarium? Terry's like, hey man, I need your driver's license. He's like, I know we printed it out before, but I've seemed to have lost that. And I'm like, I bet Marcellus took that driver's license to show it to Tova. Again, I don't know if that's what happened, but that's what I think happened. Took the copy of the driver's license. But that is all for Remarkably Bright Creatures, and that's going to be all for this vlog. My, this does not look, it was kind of blinking. But next week's vlog we should talk about, I've hauled 3 books in this vlog. I have not completed any books, but it is May. It's a new month. Cue the NSYNC. But I will be reading, I think I'm going to be reading A Little Life by Yanya Hanya Gahara. I totally butchered that. I can't remember their name off the top of my head. I think that's what I'm going to be reading next. So that's something that interests you, stay tuned. I'm going to be reading the highest rated contemporary or literary fiction according to Goodreads this month on my TBR. I also will throw in a graphic novel and a nonfiction pick as well, if those tickle your fancy. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you made it all the way through, leave a flower emoji in the comments below. And as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!